welcome to our meditation time together. I would invite you just to get comfortable in that spot that you've chosen for these few minutes. Wherever you are, whatever is around you, just really anchor yourself into that spot. Feel whatever is beneath you, supporting you, the floor, the cushion, the bed, wherever you are. And then begin to let all the things around you just go. You're going to hear the sound of the air conditioning. You're going to hear the sound of movement, and maybe in the house a little bit. Maybe there's traffic. But really bring your presence to right there where you are. And allow those sounds, those distractions, whatever they are, allow them just to become less distracting. Quieter and quieter and quieter. And then as those things become just a little bit quieter, now listen to your breath. See if you can not just feel it, see if you can hear it. That soft, gentle whisper of the inhale, and that physical relaxation and release of the exhale. And just settle in to a good, compassionate rhythm of breath. So for these few minutes that we have together, we're going to focus our time on just learning to sit with it, whatever it is. Just really recently, I had a conversation with someone about, we have this practice, we know we have trauma, we know we have baggage, we have chapters that have all occurred before now. And our hope is that this practice will lessen the influence of those things. But we also know that no matter how much we want that, we still have to do the work. We still have to show up. We still have to sit with it. And sometimes sitting with it is uncomfortable. Sometimes sitting with it is a little scary. Sometimes sitting with it starts to bring up and stir up all the things that we were trying to let go of in the first place. But I want to take us through a practice for these few minutes, just to show what the consistency of the showing up and the sitting with it can begin to do. It will not transform those things that have already happened. It will not end the fact that there were wounds and scars. But it will begin to shift our perspective. It'll help us to see ourselves and our story and our baggage just a little bit differently. And so I want to just take you on just a quick visualization. And so just kind of picture this as we sit here together. There was this monk, and for him to get to the temple where he was going, he had to pass by this yard that had this dog behind the fence, chained up. There was really no other way for him to pass toward the temple. He had to walk that path. He had to walk that path to get to where he knew he needed to be. So he set out. He passed that yard with that fence and that dog, and the barking was terrifying. And the teeth of that dog were just ferocious. And the dog was agitated and obviously really frustrated about being chained up. But the monk did everything he could to focus on where he was headed and not let the anxiety of passing by that really scary dog deter him. And here came day 2. And he's got to get to the temple. And he's got to pass by the dog. And the barking is just as loud. And the teeth are just as scary. And the agitation is just as real. But again, he tried to focus on what was ahead, and he kept walking, and he got to where he needed to be. And that pattern continued for days, dozens and dozens of days. And then all of a sudden, several months later, after walking that same path by that same ferocious dog every single day, this time as he walked, he noticed the barking wasn't as loud, and the teeth didn't look as scary, and the dog didn't seem as agitated. And so he kind of picked up his pace and continued his journey. A few weeks later, same path, still walking. But this time as he passed, he noticed the dog was just sitting there looking at him. No noise, no showing of the teeth, no agitation, just quiet. Same dog, same monk, same path. And he continued his journey to the temple. So I would ask you today, what in your life is represented by that dog? What is the loud, ferocious, scary sight that you see when you show up and you sit on that cushion, metaphorically or wherever you are? You know where you want to get to. We know what this path is all about. But it's the consistency of the showing up on the same path with the same barking, scary dog that sometimes gets us off track. We sit and we show up, and all these things bubble up, and we feel the agitation the same way that monk felt it from the dog. And we feel the fear the same way the monk felt it from the dog. But he kept looking ahead. He kept looking ahead and kept moving in that direction. It was still the same dog. And for us, it's still the same story. It's still the same wound. It's still the same baggage. But as we continue on this path and we continue with consistency and we sit with the fear and we sit with the stuff, eventually it will become quiet. The agitation will become less, and the fear will begin to disappear. And so I ask you, and I ask myself, what's that barking dog look like for you? And so we're going to just pause. We're going to see it. And you may feel some constriction up in your chest or on your heart as you see it. And your skin may feel a little bit hot. And your breath might become just a little bit labored. Because our stories are hard. And our baggage is real. As real as that dog was on the other side of that fence. But just like that monk, we're looking ahead. We know that chapter is done. We know those things are finished. And the only way that we can really move beyond them is to sit with them, Just like for the monk, the only way to get to the temple was to pass every day by that scary dog. So I'd ask you just to sit, see whatever your thing is. Notice your physiological response as you see it. And then meet that response with compassion and love and grace for yourself. Place your hand on your heart. Bring your palms together. Soften your breath, whatever you need to do to allow yourself to sit with it. One breath, one moment at a time. And as you continue to sit and you continue to notice, I invite you to go back and just picture that monk once again. Just picture this man in this orange robe passing by this fence, the temple, way at the other end of the road. And just think, how did he get there? How did he make it past that dog? How did he get to the temple for all those days, all those weeks, all those months? And the answer is one step at a time. One foot in front of the other. One step at a time. He felt the fear, which the message is to us that feel it, own it, and then put one foot in front of the other. He experienced the agitation. It's probably palpable. He could feel it in the air. And that encourages us to feel it, to know the effect of these things on us, on our emotions, on our thoughts, and then put one foot in front of the other. It took months for him to experience peace with that dog. And the message for us is that this takes time. But the wonderful thing about this practice is that as we learn to sit with the stuff that's already happened, as we learn to grapple with the things that just hurt our heart, as we get further along in this practice, when the next thing comes that causes us pain or creates a wound, we'll already know what to do. Our practice today is teaching us to deal with the things, to confront the things, to sit with the things that have already passed. And as we do it now, we are shoring ourselves up for the things that are yet to come. We know that suffering and hardship is just part of this existence. But we also know that we don't have to live in fear. And so let's practice that in the coming days. When you see your thing and you feel it in your emotions or you feel it in your physical body, see that monk. One foot in front of the other. Continuing to look ahead, knowing where it is that he needs to go. And let's do the same. Namaste.